Hi guys, welcome back to The Goods and this week's movie review. Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping. That's an awesome title. Now, this is one of those SNL to screen skit translations, such as Wayne's World, such as Ladies Man, such as MacGruber. This one's actually going to star the characters from the Lonely Island group. And if you're not familiar with the Lonely Island group, then I tell you to go to Google and do a search for Jizzed in My Pants or Dick in a Box or Mother Lover. Just don't do it at work. I don't want anybody to get fired. Don't do it at work. But once you watch it, you'll be more familiar and you'll probably say, oh yeah, I know who these guys are. And that way you can jump into this film. Now, because it stars the Lonely Island group, it's a little bit different because they're not going by the Lonely Island group. They're going by a new name called the Style Boys. But all three characters are back. So we got Andy Samberg, we got Jorma Taccone, and we also got Akifa Schaffer, all back to be a part of this group and carry on into this mockumentary style film. We're also going to see Tim Meadows in this film as well, another SNL legend. Since we did skip the screen translations at the beginning of this, he was one from Ladies Man, which is surprising to see him in here. Well, I guess it's a good thing to see him in here because he relates to what this film is. But I hadn't seen him in anything in a while, so it was really kind of nice to see him back on screen. We're also going to get Sarah Silverman in here and Maya Rudolph, so there's another reunion of the SNL cast. But we're also going to get a cast of cameos from the music industry. I think Usher's in here, Nas is in here, DJ Khaled's in here. There's a whole bunch of people. So, 50 Cent's in here. A whole bunch of the music industry is in this film. Kind of helps bring on the realism, I guess, is what they were trying to do. So I guess that moves us on to the plot. The plot of this film is that Andy Samberg's character, Connor For Real, which was an awesome name for a pop star, I guess, he's dealing with celebrity life following or as the failure of his second album is going on, which is following the breakup from his old group, the Style Boys. So it's an interesting scenario, and like I said, it's all done mockumentary style, which was a great setup and a great premise. So when I saw the trailer for this, I was really on board in seeing this film. So as we do in all these reviews, we talk about the goods and the bad. So let's move on with the goods. So the goods of this film is that the mockumentary style is something I really love in comedies, such as stuff like This Is Spinal Tap, thinking about a music mockumentary, or even Borat. That's a good mockumentary in a comedy, which fits what's being done in this one. I think it brings in a little bit of the realism, or it brings in a realism which kind of keeps the movie grounded, even though the comedy's over the top. So that was one thing that I really liked about how they did this film, how it was filmed with like news footage, him talking to the camera, and him doing his on-stage performances. So I thought that was really good in this film. Other thing that I liked about this film was the Yes Men portion. So he has his entourage, and even shown in the trailer, like when he threw the basketball behind his back and it got nowhere near the rim, but they were like, oh yeah. So I thought those were some of the funniest bits in this film, and it kept me laughing every time that they were like, just, yeah, whatever you do is awesome. So another thing that I really liked about this film is if you're a fan of Lonely Island and you watch the skits on SNL, it was always an event when they did a music video or a performance. So to see so much of the music and new music, they didn't like do a whole bunch of old stuff. Such of the new music in here was where a lot of the comedy came from. Songs like the Bin Laden song, which they actually debuted on SNL, I think about 2 weeks ago. And so it was a little downer. It was still funny that I didn't get to see that song in the film first, but it was still a hilarious song, as well as his Humble song, which talks about all these great things he's done as a celebrity and a superstar, but somehow he's still humble. So those were the funniest parts that I could think of, which really like helped me love this movie. Now, I'm gonna stop there because, like I said, we never do full spoiler reviews. These are our non-spoiler reviews. So we're just gonna go ahead and move on to the bads, I guess. The bads of this film, which I just told you I love this film, so what could I really have as bads? The bads of this film is that the plot, the end of the plot is one thing, but the end of the film you see coming 20 minutes into the story. You already know what they're going to do and where they're going to go with it. I mean, obviously there's some comedy that goes along with it that makes it enjoyable, but it would have been nice to have it not be so predictable to where they kind of, went a different direction and you got to see something that you weren't expecting, because the whole time I kept saying, I was like, oh, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. And then they ultimately did that, which for the story, I guess it was right, but I would have liked them seeing something a little bit different to help me say like, this is different from any other of, person leaves the group, blows up, and then he leaves his friend behind story. So that's it. That's all I got for the bads. I don't really have any more bads. I mean, nitpicking, I guess it could have had a little more comedy, since a lot of the comedy took place, like I said, with the Yes Men and the songs on stage. A lot of the other interactions out of those two settings was just really trying to further the plot. I don't really want to give that as a bad, but if they could add a little bit more comedy in there, it would have helped me super love this film and put it on like my top list. But in general, I mean, I've been seeing a bunch of C movies, so it was great to see something that wasn't an average or below average film. So I guess we're gonna get to did I like it? Yeah, I liked it. It was a good movie. It was a really good movie. I'm gonna give it a B. It wasn't the greatest comedy that I saw, but it was enjoyable for what it was. Like I said, if it hadn't been so predictable, I probably would have enjoyed it more. Should you see it? Yeah, especially if you're an SNL fan, if you're a Lonely Island fan, or if you just like mockumentary style films. I think this is another good one to add to that list. Yeah. I don't suggest taking kids to this film, because it is definitely an R-rated film. It looked like it was pretty tame for a while, and then they got towards the second half of the film, and then that's where they earned their R. So yeah. So like always I say, make sure you comment below. Tell me what you guys felt about the film if you haven't seen it yet. Tell me what your expectations are. If you have seen it, tell me if you liked it, tell me if you didn't like it, and make sure you comment below so I can have a discussion with you guys. Also, make sure you subscribe so that way you know when new films like this come out. This is actually my second review for this week. So if you weren't expecting this, you'll get a nice little notification if you're being subscribed to the channel. Plus, we do tons of other videos, and you guys I want you guys to go by and see some of those as well. So that's all I got for this week for this movie. See you guys next week. Take it easy.